Texas versus Rudy Mayfield Lopez Schilling. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Marcus Sanders.
Are you Mr. Schilling?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand you're charged with theft of mail identifying information? Is this greater than 10?
Less than 10.
Less than 10? Less than 10 addresses and pence. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand that this offense is a third-degree felony and the range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 10 years in prison and up to $10,000 fine? Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, state, you're opposing the application.
We are a judge. And our opposition is in part due to the nature of the offense, but more so because of his criminal history. Specifically in 2014, he was convicted of aggravated assault. He was placed on deferred for 4 years, but ended up being revoked and was sentenced to 4 years. He also has prior misdemeanor theft convictions for theft from 2009 and 2015. He's been given an opportunity at deferred, and he has shown that he is not a fit candidate for it. We do not believe that he would be a fit candidate now, as his criminal history goes back over 10 to 15 years. So that's why we're opposed.
All right, defense.
Your Honor, that is true. Mr. Schilling has been trying to better himself. He has an associate's degree. He's in college right now, or he was before he got picked up. So he's going to have to, restart a couple classes. He's trying to get his bachelor's degree. He understands what he did was wrong, and he is trying to make himself better. He was employed, like I said, and in college, and he's trying to become a better person. We're asking for deferred to give him another chance. You always have the option if he were to screw it up. I mean, we all know he can be right back here and then be sent to prison.
How old are you?
I'm 35.
You're 35. Why are you going around in a BMW driving to people's mailboxes and taking their mail? And I did note in there that you took the mail during tax time. So that means that you knew that people were receiving their income tax and you took their income tax checks. So why are we doing this?
Your Honor, I have no good excuse. It was a bad choice. And I really do regret it.
Well, I mean, I know you understand bad choice and people have regrets once they get caught.
Right.
But you were not regretting it as you were doing it because you did more than one mailbox in that same day.
Yes, ma'am.
So where was the regret then?
There wasn't at the time.
Because what I have here is they received a call in reference to someone operating a black BMW who were stopping at the mailboxes along the roadway and taking the mail. So all of these people, you took their mail, they were expecting an income tax check, right? So they had paid their taxes, they had filled out their taxes, and who knows what they were planning on doing with that money. Maybe they needed to buy clothing for their children for school. Maybe they were just going to go on a little vacation, but you took that away from them. So why should I even consider giving you deferred adjudication or regular probation when you've done this? How many thefts have you committed in your past before that you've been caught for?
Twice.
I'm sorry?
I think twice.
You see how long it took you to think about that?
Yes,
You know what would happen if I asked your attorney or I asked the state's attorney how many cases they've had for theft before? You know how long it would take them to answer that?
Yes, ma'am.
Right away, they'd answer it. Is there anything else from the state or the defense?
Nothing from the state.
No, Your Honor.
All right, I'm going to find you guilty. I'm going to sentence you to 4 years in prison. Give you credit for any time served. Take in consideration NIBAG number. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, good luck to you. Don't steal. Don't take what doesn't belong to you. People work hard for what they have.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good luck.
Welcome to Off the Record. The case you just watched had been edited so as to cut out all of the court on the record crap. After editing, it came in to 4 minutes and 8 seconds. Take a quick guess at how long it was, with all the boring bits left in it. 10 minutes and 42 seconds. It had 6 minutes and 34 seconds of mandatory, boring shit.
Do you understand you have a right to jury trial, right, for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call on the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by entering this?
Boring shit that you did not have to listen to so as to get to the juicy parts, which are usually off the record, just like the name of my channel. So please subscribe, as if it is for only but one of the reasons why, and that would be that I won't ever waste the time you spend with me.
You applied for deferred adjudication. You entered a plea of no contest on September 17th. According to your plea bargaining agreement, punishment is to be assessed at a cap of 15 years in the prison. There's an affirmative finding of deadly weapon, and the state is opposed to your application. All right, so it's just argument?
Yes, Judge.
All right, state you're opposed. I'll hear your argument.
Yes, Your Honor, because of the previous record and also the previous study house.
All right, defense.
Yes, Judge. He has been to prison once before. It was back in 2017 for an ag assault deadly weapon, as you can see from the report. One of the good things I saw when I was going through this PSI, which you don't normally see, is that he is very motivated for treatment, full on safety. If you read the facts of this case, because of his drug and alcohol, primarily drugs, but some alcohol use on this particular day, he really does not remember the offense. His birthday was the next day. That's also the anniversary date of his grandmother's death, who he was very close to. He does live and would live with his grandfather. Should you see fit to give him deferred? I know that it's an ask because he's been to prison once before. His misdemeanor history is, he's got, I think, a DWI conviction, and maybe an assault married conviction from a while ago. But if he goes to safety, that's like a good 9-month hit of intensive treatment that I think would serve him much better than going to prison, where he's not, even if he did therapeutic community, it's not going to do him as well. And clearly he needs, he's never really gotten any help from the system. He just went to prison on that ag assault. Looks like he did get deferred initially, but he wasn't really getting any kind of help. And I have talked to him. He has always accepted responsibility for this offense. He never did want a trial. He knew that he did wrong, which I think shows that we might be able to actually get him the help that he needs so that he can get his life together. He goes to prison again. I'm not so sure he's going to get out, and with any of the help he needs, it's going to be, I think, setting himself up to fail. Is there anything you would like to let the judge know?
You want to raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Go ahead, Ebia.
All right, what would you like to say?
I know I messed up, Your Honor. I understand that, but I really been to prison. I feel like if I go back, that's really just not going to do anything but help me. It's just really going to send me in a spiral. When I was on probation, I never got any help that I needed. I always wanted help. I struggled with doing drugs. When I lost my grandmother on my birthday, that kind of hurt. And then soon after, I lost my little brother who I initially grew up with. So it kind of sent me in a spiral. And then in prison time, I lost my son to CPS because the mother of my child was on drugs and didn't really want to try to get my son back. So that really hurt him. And the only support that I have is my mother, my father, and a good friend. He's still by my side no matter what. He's just encouraging me every day to do good and wants to see me do good. But I never had any type of help. I would really appreciate if I can get any type of help.
I'm a firm believer in the saying, get all the help you need, just don't do the deed. For if you do, there won't be a lot of empathy left for you.
So you're telling me when you were on deferred adjudication, they didn't give you any help? Because according to what I'm reading from the criminal history, you were on deferred adjudication for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. There was a motion to revoke filed. Now, I'm making assumptions. Usually when there's a motion to revoke that's filed, that means that they're alleging that you violated some conditions. And whatever condition you violate, they are supposed to address that. If they're continuing, you address that. For example, if there's a drug issue, then they'll address it by giving you drug rehab. If there is an anger issue, they'll address it by giving you a class on anger management. So you're telling me none of that was done?
No, I was on class doing a BIP bad intervention program class, and for them altering my days of class, which kind of gave me a revoke.
So you're saying they gave you BIP?
Yeah.
So this aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, that was against a relative or a family member? All right. And then you had the possession less than 28 grams. You were given deferred adjudication for that. And you were revoked. So you're telling me in all the time that you were on probation in those two instances, nobody offered you any help?
On the And when I was on probation for the 6 years, they were supposed to send me to ISF, but due to COVID, they never sent me to none of those.
Okay.
And just as an aside, Judge, he's only, I think,
Oh, well, I'm sorry, just 1 second. Do you have any questions for him?
No.
State, do you have any questions? All right.
he's 28 now. So when all of these other offenses were happening, looks like it to be about 8 to 10 years ago, he was very young. And it really didn't have any, probably the emotional or the brain development to really have taken advantage of whatever he might have been able to take advantage of. But he's older now, much more mature, looking at 30. And I think he would take this seriously. Of course, if you so chose to give him deferred and he goes to safety and he doesn't comply with their rules, back he comes, and you can obviously send him to prison then. But I would like to see if maybe we could give him that chance.
All right, so here's my question. My understanding, your attorney is saying that you were going through some things. So according to the facts of this case, you're offering to buy an item for someone. Is that correct?
I don't recall, but if it says yes.
No, I mean, it's saying that somebody set up to buy an item. I don't know if this was on OfferUp or whatever it was on, but the person arrives to sell his item and then a weapon is pulled on them.
Don't you love it how dickheads will try and distance themselves from culpability and the crime itself by saying that they blacked out at the time or just can't remember? And what these masterminds don't seem to get is that they re-saying that this event, which so affected the victim, who will remember it forever, didn't even register for a memory for the criminal dickhead. Masterminds, courts are full of them.
It was agreed that the purchase price would be $500, and then you pretended to reach in your pocket for money to pay.
That must have been the time that he was thinking of his younger brother.
And then instead you pulled out a knife and pressed it to the victim's ribs and told the victim you were going to steal the phone.
Or perhaps that was the time he was thinking of honoring his grandmother.
And then you had the wherewithal to change, I guess, I'm from the 70s where you had CBs and stuff. So you changed your handle from what it previously was to the P word. So, I mean, you had the wherewithal, even though, you're saying you had drug-induced issues, you still had the wherewithal to go in and change your account name and everything. And you had the wherewithal to reach out to someone to make a plan to buy an item from them and then set up a place to meet.
All while thinking of his dead relatives. He seems to be quite the busy man.
But you're saying all of this was in a drug-induced haze? Do you see how that sounds?
I see how it sounds. Well, at the time I was doing Xanax, and Xanax, when I do them, it was causing blackouts in and out. So I really don't remember.
And then see, the thing for you not to remember, because you're telling me you're not remembering, obviously something happened that made you remember because you went in to change your name, your handle, from where you had previously reached out to this person.
And Judge, of course, I'm not a psychologist,
Yeah.
obviously by any stretch. But I mean, over all of the years, I think while if he's in a drug induced and he can't remember anything later, I don't think that necessarily means that at the time he wasn't able to function and, obviously do what he did.
Mm-hmm.
He just doesn't recall it later once the drugs and the alcohol were on.
Okay. All right. Thanks for explaining that. I appreciate that. All right. I just don't think you're appropriate candidate for deferred adjudication. So I'm not going to grant your application. I'm going to find you guilty. There's an affirmative finding of deadly weapon. I'll ask for the therapeutic community. Because of your history, they may not place you in that. I have no authority to force them to place you there. But I do know if you don't ask for it, they definitely will not do it. I'll put in the Judgement therapeutic community.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. Now, let's speak to time. According to the plea bargain agreement, it's cap of 15. State you're asking for 15. All right. Defense?
Well, of course, Judge, I'm going to be asking for less than that. I think he went 6 years on the last stint, possibly. So I was telling him that I would ask you if you would possibly be willing to consider 8. Should you not be willing to grant the deferred?
All right. All right. The court is going to sentence you to 15 years in the prison.
plenty of time to think about his dead relatives now. I so dislike people who either swear upon their children that they are telling the truth or say that they are mourning the loss of a loved one and use it for an excuse. Those people are pathetic, and it looks like Stephanie agrees.
I'll give you credit for any time served. All right, we can go off the record. This is what I want you to understand. I take no joy in sending anyone to prison. I am still hopeful that you will do well. I know that 15 years is a lot of time. Any day that you spend in custody, even if it's an hour, it's a lot of time. I understand that. But you're going to have to change your ways, because otherwise what's going to end up happening is you're going to find yourself spending the rest of your life at the prison. And when you look at your history, if you pick up a new case, people are going to see that history, and your minimum is 25 years. And the law is the law. However, if you end up going to prison for 30 years, when it comes time for you to go to parole, they're going to look at your criminal history, and they may be inclined to let you sit there for the full 30 years. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So there's still a chance for you to improve yourself, to get your life together. So while you're at the prison, there are plenty of programs that are there for you. Read, get an education. They will give you an education for free. If you don't have your GED, get your GED. Work on improving yourself and do not become institutionalized. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Good luck to you. Okay.
Thanks, guys, for staying to the end. I appreciate it. In fact, I appreciate it so much. I made this subscriber stayed to the end unlisted playlist just for you guys. So please make sure you save this playlist as I update it with the latest releases before they come out. And best of all, it's free. Just don't tell the others. See you next time.